while not one from Kemet, where spirituality began. Spirituality did not begin in Kemet. As much as I love Kem, I studied Kem. I studied under Theophilo Benga for 4 years at San Francisco State University, and we studied African philosophy, African spiritual science, ancient Egypt. It was a wonderful, wonderful, blissful experience, an eye-opening experience. However, one thing that I learned from Obenga was to study, study, study. And that's what I did. I continued to study, and I realized that there was so much more that I need to know when it comes to spirituality. So I share the wisdom of many different cultures, traditions throughout the world because I studied from many different cultures and traditions. One thing to understand more than anything is that spirituality does not begin in the physical dimension. That should be the beginning of all of our spiritual lessons, is to not have an identity with spirituality. It is not African, it is not Kemetic, it is not Indian, it is not Igbo, it is not Yoruba, it is not Native American. Spirituality simply is spirituality. Remember, spirituality starts from the immaterial world, the spirit world, and then we become the custodians by downloading this information or by bringing this information with us into the physical realm, and we establish ourselves into different parts of the world. Kem certainly is not the beginning of this. And once we establish ourselves, we always remember that we came from a world before we came here. And in that world is where it all began. So spirituality does not begin here. It begins in the cosmos. It begins in the spiritual realm. There was different spiritual civilizations that exist, like the ancient Cushitic civilizations that were known by many different names. Amerira, this was a civilization that was far more ancient than Kem. Then you have the ancient Kwa people of West Africa, consisting of Igbos, Ibibios, Igala or Digala people, Yorubas, and many others who existed prior to Kem, who had very, very rich spiritual traditions. And it's evident in our language, because I come from the Igbo people. And then you have other civilizations that came from South Africa. The Zulus existed prior to Kem as well. Instead of us thinking that Kem is the origin, as much as I love Kem, Kem was where a lot of our spiritual wisdom started to flourish, and we reached such high states of evolution in our thought, in our consciousness. We still had just as powerful civilizations, if not more powerful, when we were less material, when we were more immaterial, when our etheric bodies were more expressed in our physical bodies, when we were beings of light. We still are, but when we were beings of light and that light was more expressed, we were less dense. Now we become more dense, more asleep. And our goal is to awaken ourselves. And the way to awaken ourselves is to understand that spirituality, it is not a color, it is not a nation, it is not a race. It is just simply spirituality. It is beyond our ego. It is beyond our monkey mind. It is beyond our physical vessels. It is beyond even our ideas that we have of what spirituality is. So stay tuned. I do have books about Kem